Please welcome from Dallas, Texas. He formed Broadcast.com and loaded up millions, and now he owns the Dallas Mavericks, and he has a lot of fun. Mark Cuban. Hey, Mark.
What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Not a lot.
Where'd you get those clips?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
Where was that? Rich, where'd we get that?
I think we downloaded
was that?
Broadcast.com.
Oh, no.
Where was that?
That was off of 2020.
That was from 2020. Is it at some point? I mean, because you know, this woman in this piece, she was asking you, what you're worth and all that. Are those uncomfortable questions for you to answer, or are the numbers just so staggering you almost can't even attach yourself to it?
And I'm the first to realize it. It's like I look at them and say, this is not even real. No, who would have thunk, and so, no, I don't want mine when people ask me, because that's just part of the picture, but what a great problem to have, right?
No, it is a great problem, and you seem not to shy away from it, which, if someone says if you say $2 billion, that's $2 billion. Well, what are you hiding from?
And your story is amazing, because, you didn't grow up as like this rich kid. It's not like, it's not like you have billions and like $4 billion of it was dad's. How much money did you have when you started Broadcast.com?
Well, let's go back even before that. When I started my first company, Micro Solutions, I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment in this apartment complex called The Village in Dallas.
In what year?
This was 83.
Okay.
And I was sleeping on the floor, didn't have my own bed, didn't even have my own closet. I had a Fiat X19, a 1977 Fiat X19 that had a hole in the floorboard. And I mean, we had 6 guys, and when one guy took off on us, we had to kite checks between us all. I'll write a check to you, you write a check to him, he writes a check to him, so that we could all pay our rent.
And
so it wasn't like I started with a big chunk and just built it from there.
And what did it cost you to start Broadcast.com?
About $3,000.
So take us back to the early days. What were the offices like?
There was no office. It was the 2nd bedroom of the house I was living in, and we were working with your sister station, KLIF. And they gave us permission to start broadcasting over the internet, which for us meant I bought a $3,000 computer, an ISDN line, a high-speed data line, and a $49 super radio from Best Buy.
And what was your inspiration for starting Broadcast.com? And people who don't understand or even know what Broadcast.com is, it's a website you go to, and you can hear radio stations from all over the world. They're just all available on that one site.
I used to listen to you guys in Dallas, when we first put you all on.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys are one of the top-rated stations on broadcast, still are.
Oh, thank you.
What made you want to do this thing? I mean, why?
Well, my buddy Todd Wagner and I both went to school at Indiana University, and we're big basketball junkies. And so being in Dallas, the only way to listen to Indiana basketball, because they weren't doing so well then, was if they were on national TV. And, that was rarely. So, he came to me, he goes, Mark, you're a geek. There's got to be a way that using this new internet stuff, because this is 1995, that we can listen to sports over the net, and in particular Indiana basketball. I'm like, that's a damn good idea. Let me see if we can turn that into a business. And we really didn't have that much money to spend, so we wanted to do it on the cheap. So we just, like I said, put a computer and a radio in my bedroom with a big long antenna, and got the okay from KLIF here in Dallas to start testing this thing. And I mean, it was a blast.
And now $2 billion later.
Well,
but that's really cool, though, that it was your love of sports.
So cool.
After that one initial station, how quickly did it take off after that?
Well, it wasn't like a boom. It was there. It took a year before it really we started to realize, wait a minute, we really have something special here. About 9 months later, we actually moved into a little 3,000 square foot office, and by that time we started having friends who we would tell about this, who were threatening not to be our friends anymore if we didn't let them invest. So to give you an idea, like my buddies, they all put in $30,000 each for 1% of the company, and that 1% of the company ended up being worth about $60 million.
And how long did they have to wait for that 30,000?
96 to 99, so 3 years.
Oh, that
3 years.
Sucks. That really sucks. Now, were these the guys that were sleeping on the floor in the 3-bedroom apartment?
Oh yeah, I mean these guys. I mean, I have a lot of new best friends.
And I'll bet you had a lot of friends who were like, nah, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I'm gonna pass on that. Oh yeah,
there's a lot of people who are kicking themselves.
I mean, really.
How many people did you make millionaires?
Well, when we sold the company to Yahoo in '99 for $5.7 billion, of the 330 employees we had, 300 became millionaires, and the 30 who didn't were people who had started like within the last month, and then plus all the friends who invested in everything. So probably about 350 people.
We're talking to Mark Cuban, who owns the Mavericks, and he formed broadcast.com, among other things that he has going on. You bought a plane last year, right?
Yeah, I bought it online.
Now, why would you
bought
buy
it
a
online?
plane?
Yep.
Hang on a second. Will you buy a plane when you already bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines?
Yeah, you guys know everything. Well, there's a big difference. Having a lifetime pass on American is sweet, right?
We didn't even know there was such a thing as a lifetime pass.
Well, you know how it's a good story. I had a company before broadcast called Micro Solutions that I sold, and me and my buddies were out just getting trashed. And you're saying, okay, I just made some money. What are you going to do now? And it's like, well, you're going to buy a Porsche, you're going to buy a house. And I'm like, no, I didn't get that much money. But you know what I'd love? I'd love a lifetime pass on American Airlines. They're like, there's no such thing. And we are just trashed out of our minds. And we're one of those old time steakhouses that have a phone next to the
Sure.
yeah. And so we're like,
table.
give me the phone.
Right.
And we're like, do you have a lifetime passes? And she's like, lady who answers the phone, let me connect you to the Airpass department.
What?
Yeah. And so that's how we found out in a drunken stupor.
And what does that cost?
Let's take a guess. Hang on.
Go ahead.
Barnes and I both were saying like $500,000.
Now, for if you're under 40 years old, which I was then, and God, doesn't that sound old, to fly an unlimited number of miles for you and a friend, and they don't sell these anymore, $350,000.
Really?
And you could pay it on. You could do it on a payment plan, which is exactly what I did.
$350,000, you and a friend.
Yeah, forever.
Is that first class?
Yeah.
Anywhere you want to go.
On American Airlines.
And I mean, is it like priority flying? Can you just walk up?
I can just walk on and they'll kick somebody off.
Do you have some sort of ID that says I'm the man?
Yeah, that's basically, and they get to know you too, and you know the codes, and it's like there's only a few people who bought them before they discontinued them.
And when you bought that pass, did you just charge it on a credit card? I mean, how did you?
No. You had to fill out all the forms, and all that kind of stuff. Just like
Do you still use it? Do you still use it?
No, I have, because like there's been times when I've had the plane in for maintenance and stuff, and so I've had to use it. So it's still sweet to have.
How do you buy a plane online? Isn't that a risky purchase?
No kidding.
Well, you had to try. I mean, it's like buying anything else. I figured, you know what, I got to practice what I preach. So I wanted to do research. When I sold broadcast.com, the money was so sick. I mean, it was just like outrageous. And I was like, okay, I don't want to let it get to me too much, but there's just certain things I want to have. And the three things were a house, a plane, and a basketball team. And so I bought this house, which was a great house, and then it was like, okay, let's start doing my homework on a plane. And so I got online and started doing my research, just like you'd research a car. And I got to Gulfstream.com, started checking out the different planes, and thought, this looks pretty sweet. Emailed the guy and said, all right, can I take a test drive? And talked to some pilots who said the Gulfstream 5 was the best plane out there. And I emailed them. I said, okay, you let me take a test flight, and if I like it, I'll buy it. And they're like, please.
We'll send it over.
Yeah, please, whatever. And I said, no, for real, here, check me out. And I just got enlisted in Forbes, and kaboom, next thing you know, old Jet has an airplane.
And then your third purchase, of course, the basketball team.
Mark, what I love about this story and about you is that you're doing it the way I would do it. You're having fun, and you've got the money. You're not shy about it, and you're going to play, and you're going to buy yourself a basketball team.
Hell yeah.
What I like about it, though, is not that, but that you don't sound arrogant about it. And that's what I like about
money,
it.
Man. It's not like
it's just like having a good time.
It's nice.
You made headlines a while back hosting a very dependable businessman at your home, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, DR, he's a good man.
Yeah,
Now,
what was that circus like? When you contact him, you're going to give him the moon to come play for the Mavericks.
Right.
It just didn't seem to work out.
But you know what? Put the basketball aside. Dennis is a cool guy. There's two Dennis Rodmans. There's the Dennis Rodman when the lights go on and the cameras are on, and there's the Dennis Rodman who was my roommate who would sit 8 hours a day before games and watch the Cartoon Network.
I believe that. I don't doubt
he doesn't say a whole lot. He doesn't get in a whole lot of trouble. Actually, even when you party with Dennis, man, we'd be out there. He'd be partying with me and my friends, and he'd be like, "Dang, you guys hit it too hard." It's just when you're around Dennis, it's like a freak show. There's all the freaks come out of the woodwork to try to prove
you're partying hard when that happens.
Well, let me ask you. There's a very famous story that Elvis in his heyday, they were out partying. He and Red and Sonny and all those guys, they were hanging around Graceland, and Elvis wanted I think it was a fried peanut butter sandwich or something that they only made in some restaurant in Denver. And at like 2 o'clock in the morning, he called his pilot and said, fuel it up, we're going to Denver. And went out and they got a bunch of sandwiches in Denver and then flew back. Have you ever any of those stories?
Those last minute, hey, what the hell, we're gonna just go.